One word comes to mind, the word emboldened. Trump and his team is going to be emboldened by this settlement by ABC, because rather than fight this out any further, rather than trying to go to trial, ABC is choosing to settle.
I don't say this often, but Brian Stelter is correct.
In a high-profile legal clash that sent shockwaves through political and media circles, ABC News has resolved a $15 million defamation suit brought by Donald Trump. The suit arose from host George Stephanopoulos' incorrect statements about Trump's responsibility in the E. Jean Carroll case. The controversy ignited fierce discussions around press freedom, media responsibility, and the increasing use of defamation suits as political weapons. Anna Kasparian has voiced concerns, cautioning that this resolution may create a dangerous precedent, allowing the powerful to suppress criticism and forcing media platforms to proceed with caution when covering divisive issues. So what does this signal for the future of journalism and democracy? Let's examine it.
ABC News has agreed to pay $15 million toward President-elect Donald Trump's presidential library in order to settle a defamation lawsuit that Trump himself filed against the news organization. Now, Trump filed this suit against ABC News over anchor George Stephanopoulos, inaccurately claiming at the time that Trump was found liable for rape in the E. Jean Carroll case. Now, he had actually been found civilly liable for sexual abuse, not rape, and there is a distinction here.
And you've endorsed Donald Trump for president. Judges and two separate juries have found him liable for rape and for defaming the victim of that rape. How do you square your endorsement of Donald Trump with the testimony we just saw?
Well, I will tell you, I was raped at the age of 16. And any rape victim will tell you, I've lived for 30 years with an incredible amount of shame over being raped. I didn't come forward because of that judgment and shame that I felt. And it's a shame that you will never feel, George. And I'm not going to sit here on your show and be asked a question meant to shame me about another potential rape victim. I'm not gonna do that.
It's actually not about shaming you. It's a question about
no,
Donald
you
Trump.
are shaming
You've
me.
endorsed Donald Trump for president.
Right.
Donald Trump has been found liable for rape by a jury. Donald Trump has been found liable for defaming the victim of that rape by a jury.
Now, just to give you further context, Stephanopoulos was referring to a lawsuit by E. Jean Carroll, who alleged that Trump raped her in 1996 in the dressing room of a New York City department store. While the jury found that Carroll's attorneys did not prove the rape allegation, they did agree that Trump forcibly sexually abused and defamed her and ruled that Trump had to pay Carroll $5 million. So let's talk a little bit about the distinctions here and how New York actually changed its laws following this lawsuit that E. Jean Carroll had brought against Donald Trump.
The lawsuit originated from a remark by anchor George Stephanopoulos, who wrongly implied that Trump had been found liable for rape in the E. Jean Carroll case. In truth, the court found Trump responsible for sexual abuse and defamation, distinctions, based on New York's more specific legal interpretation of rape at the time. Rather than fight the matter in court, ABC chose to settle, agreeing to pay $15 million to Trump's presidential library for over $1 billion in legal fees, including a $1 million contribution from Stephanopoulos himself, along with a statement expressing regret for the inaccurate claim. This decision raises major concerns about the pressure media companies face to avoid lawsuits, even at the cost of editorial independence and credibility.
George Stephanopoulos said at the time of that interview with Nancy Mace was inaccurate. And so at that point, Donald Trump pounced on it and filed a lawsuit against ABC News. And so rather than really fight the defamation case, which, by the way, had gotten to a point where they were going to do, what is it called when you're depositions? They were about to do depositions. ABC News decides, let's settle it instead. As part of the settlement, ABC will pay the $15 million to the Trump Presidential Library, which currently only exists online, plus another $1 million in Trump's attorney fees, court records show. That $1 million is to be paid by George Stephanopoulos himself. And the network also added a note to the online story about the interview, noting that both ABC and Stephanopoulos regret the comments. Now, look, this has made members of the media, legal experts, and liberal pundits very upset because they feel that this sets a terrible precedent for the press. So Democratic attorney Mark Elias wrote, "Knee bent, ring kissed, another legacy news outlet chooses obedience." Reporter Oliver Willis argued on Threads that this is actually how democracy dies. MSNBC legal analyst Barbara McQuaid believes that this settlement will have a chilling effect on the media. And I think that those predictions might be correct, because now we're hearing that Donald Trump is in fact emboldened and is now planning on filing lawsuits against pollsters, lawsuits against CBS, Bob Woodward, the Des Moines Register. In fact, here he is talking about Ann Seltzer's Iowa poll leading up to the election, which was pretty ridiculous, but suing her over it sounds a little crazy. Let's watch. So, look, I am worried about the chilling effect on the press. Now, the press should be careful, and you shouldn't be sloppy, and you should go out of your way to be accurate. But the other thing is, look, in order to win a defamation suit, the person filing the suit would have to prove actual malice, meaning that the Trump team would have to prove that George Stephanopoulos knowingly lied and kept saying that he was found liable of rape.
The resolution between ABC News and Donald Trump over a defamation case has ignited intense conversations about the media's future. Commentators like Anna Kasparian argue this move sets a worrisome precedent, enabling wealthy individuals to weaponize lawsuits to silence dissent and block critical reporting. By agreeing to such a large settlement instead of defending its journalism in court, ABC News may have paved the way for SLAPP's strategic lawsuit against public participation suits, prompting media outlets to second-guess coverage of high or political issues. This results in a chilling effect, discouraging investigative work due to fear of expensive litigation. Central to this is the actual malice standard, a key part of U.S. defamation law that protects free expression. To win, Trump would have needed to prove that ABC knowingly lied or acted with reckless disregard. Many legal analysts believe ABC had a strong defense. The choice to settle instead raises concerns about whether ABC chose convenience over principle, possibly eroding the legal safeguards that let journalists hold powerful individuals accountable. Adding fuel to the fire is the timing of the settlement. Depositions loomed, and insiders speculated that internal documents or testimony might have revealed embarrassing details. By settling, ABC avoided exposure, but at what cost? Critics suggest the move was more about self-protection than legal weakness, leaving journalism and the public vulnerable to long-term damage.
Typically with these types of defamation suits, especially if the individual filing the suit is a public figure, like Donald Trump is, the judge tosses it out.
Yeah.
Because it's incredibly difficult to prove actual malice.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a reason why the judge didn't toss it out. And decided to pursue it all the way to the point where they were about to do depositions.
So let me be clear about that. That's not exactly right, Anna. So in the first layer, before you get a deposition and discoveries, the judge is not allowed to consider factual matters, okay? So it can't decide, hey, is it fair to say that it was defamation based on the use of the word rape or not? They can't make that decision. They can only make the decision on matters of law in the beginning. So what this judge is saying is, by law, it's not clear, because New York says that's not rape, everyone else on planet Earth says it is, so I can't make a ruling on that. Now we're going to have to go to trial for me to make a ruling on that. So it's actually a very normal thing that the judge did. So that's not the issue. The issue is ABC's reaction to that normal ruling. What they should do normally is go forward with the trial and then win in the trial and dismiss this absurdity, right? But they didn't want something to be revealed about themselves, so they chickened out and said, oh, okay, we bowed to you, we surrendered to you, and decided to give in. Now, guys, remember, number one, the issue of the definition of rape is certainly in question here. And number two is they would have to prove malice. That is massively in question, right? Etc. But also, for our purposes, the most important thing is, because of this terrible, awful precedent, now every time anyone in media criticizes any politician, they're going to get to say defamation.
The fallout from ABC News' settlement sends a sobering message to the broader media world. especially to smaller, independent outlets without the resources of major networks. The financial burden of fighting defamation suits even those based on flimsy claims could push these organizations away from hard-hitting journalism or critical stories about public figures. Even worse, the deal, despite not admitting guilt, could embolden other rich and influential individuals to wield the courts as tools of intimidation, silencing reporters and undermining press scrutiny. The result may be devastating: a media atmosphere where only sanitized, risk-free stories get published, leaving the public misinformed and the powerful unchecked.
Lawfare? You know how, remember the right wing was complaining about lawfare? What is this, guys? Now Trump says, I'm going to sue 60 Minutes, I'm suing against Seltzer. Then he mentioned New York Times, Washington Post, anyone who covers the president of the United States, or criticize the president of the United States. Core constitutional right. First Amendment right. It doesn't get any more of an American right than that. And he's saying lawfare for all of you. I sue you, I sue you, I sue you. What happened to tort reform? All of a sudden we got the sewer in chief, okay? So he's suing everyone who criticizes. And by the way, also a delicate little bitch, let's be honest, okay? So right wing, you're gonna catch feelings over that? Oh no, Washington Post criticized me. Brother, man, you should see what the New York Times did to me. I didn't sue them, okay? But no. But Trump's feelings have to be protected. Get the hell out of here, man. So now this is a plague on all of our houses, and it's going to be a disaster for everyone. And second of all, can you let the N. Seltzer thing go?
The ABC-Trump settlement stands as a defining moment in U.S. media and legal history, highlighting the fragile balance between freedom of the press and accountability. Critics argue this case reflects a broader trend where defamation lawsuits are used to suppress journalism and bully reporters. The implications for democratic norms are serious. A free press is essential for public accountability. By settling, ABC may have inadvertently signaled to politicians and elites that aggressive legal threats can be used to silence criticism. This pivotal moment may force media groups to rethink how they report on powerful figures, potentially turning journalism into a field that is more cautious, less fearless, and ultimately less capable of speaking truth to power. What's your take on today's video? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching.